So I'll hand you over to Tony. Thank you very much.
Morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Just a pre-warn you, like I said a couple of minutes ago, this is completely unrehearsed, so I'll do my best, so just bear with me. I'm going to show people how to do what we were talking about yesterday on the panel, about wire framing, certain positions, and also to get the correct positioning of facial expressions. Okay? I'm just going to get two people up. I'm going to get you into some ridiculous poses.
I'll do it.
And who else wants to volunteer? Go for it. Now we want some really far out fantasy sort of style poses. So imagine you've got this great big broadsword and you're about to swing it. And you've got a massive shield. Okay, get your legs into it.
Yeah,
Pretend your left hand.
Excellent. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Excellent. And your arm is very heavy, by the way.
Just tell me a quick drawing. If I break wind, I do apologise. So I would suggest you could do it left-handed.
Right. Now, let's start with the head. So when I'm doing a wire frame, I tend to do like a pyramid sort of shape. So I know which direction the face is pointing.
This is a good idea when I suggested it yesterday. I'm not so sure.
Now, see, this would be more subtle in pencil, so allow you for erasing.
Or can I lose a few pounds?
Well, you will do. It's a wire frame. The shoulders.
I could always lend you a couple of swords.
Well, you'd help,
Hang on.
actually.
Oh, it's pointy.
Trump setting in at this point in time.
What's no?
Think how many calories you're expending on this, plus how much more extra beer you can drink.
I just hope your legs don't lock. Walking around the con like this all day is going to look so stupid. I don't know what the cash point is now. What the hell are you?
I got attacked by a broadsword.
Beat me with a hammer. That's a good likeness.
What did they all?
Ignore that.
It's fantasy.
It's fantasy.
It's going to be snowy.
Freaking song, so it's all good. That's it. Next time, Star Trek.
Yes, my prehensile tail also has a sub.
Okay, what am I on to?
That sounds more like Nightcrawler. With a pose like that, I think it's more Jedi.
I think we've done like this morning Death Star, haven't we?
So you play the dark side of the Force, aren't
It
you?
hurts. It's not the legs, it's my arms are really hurting. Maybe you can imagine a lighter sword.
That would be your basic wire frame. This is how I position them. As you can see, it's an exact likeness.
Super good.
Yeah. And on these wire frames, if I want to build it up, I always build it up in nails. I normally build it up in articulate circles is what I call it. So just start doing it in this kind of fashion. Sort of realising where all the muscle groups are as well. Being an ex-bodybuilder, I sort of know where most of them are.
Yeah, let me start going.
The arm is normally made up of 5 circles. That's how I personally do it. And it's similar to sculpting, just hack away at it, take away bits which don't make sense, and keep adding pieces. Now if I had an eraser, I'd start taking out the middle line, and then I'll start taking out these lines along the bottom, so then I've sort of got my silhouette of the outside of the body. Another example, for doing faces, for repositioning the faces. You can do this just by drawing a circle and 2 lines. Just draw your basic sort of shape for your face. Okay? Now, a face arm, a front face arm. That'd be front face arm. And to the right slightly. You see, it sort of comes out slightly where the nose would be. Okay. And you just slightly go upwards. So you can sort of see that it's sort of looking that direction. Okay. And then you would do the opposite if it's looking left. Okay. And same if you're looking up, looking down. You bring that point up. Okay, you probably have another line here, which would be the bottom part of the jaw. And looking down. Start with the brow for this. And that'll be looking down. So that's how you get like the basic sort of position in the faces. Okay, and then you just same sculpting, keep adding, shadowing, highlights and stuff like that until you get what you want. Any questions?
How long does it take to get the technique?
The technique,
Yeah,
what you
if
mean
I-
from start to
if I
finish?
went- Yeah, if I went Wiz and started, how long does it take to get it? Learn to use the work with?
It doesn't take long at all. I only use this technique if I'm drawing from imagination. It helps me out. Most of the time I tend to take pictures of my own facial expressions.
Yeah.
And the same with body poses, which is a lot easier, but still using the wireframe technique to sort of position it onto the paper where I want it. I would say it would probably take you, if you're just doing a wireframe, it depends on the size of the project as well. You're probably looking at about 20 minutes. Yeah, this would be great. If you've already got like a conscious visualization,
Yeah.
it shouldn't take.
What about extrapolation? You know, you have to do an alien head or a monster kind of. You start with a human expression, a human
Yeah.
shape, and then.
I'd start with a human body shape, because it's less sort of complicated. It's less complicated, and then I would, same as sculpture, start adding to it, start building on it. So same as Lego. Anybody else?
Yeah, presumably it's really bizarre and there's no fantasy thing, like there's no dragons.
Right, okay.
What do you do?
Still use the same technique.
Yeah.
Still use the same wireframe technique, because
Yeah.
the wireframe is the basics of any sort of positioning. Doesn't necessarily have to be for fantasy only.
Yeah.
You can use it in anything. And I do for portraits, when I'm doing illustrate portraits of people. Sometimes I'll occasionally use the wireframe technique, especially for faces. If I want them slightly different to the photographs that I'm drawing from, then I'll use the wireframe technique.
Sorry.
the most difficult part of the face for you?
Difficult part of the face?
Yeah.
To be honest, the nose. I'd say when I start getting the nose, I think, oh, here we go.
So is it a case of you find if it's going wrong, you've got the eyes are looking one way and the nose is looking the other sort of way?
Yeah, it sort of looks like somebody's been on
Joe Buckner
illegal
special.
substance or something.
Joe Buckner special.
Yeah. There's some major scruffy jack. Yeah, I'd say the nose was probably the bit I struggled with the most. And hands. Getting the right position with my hand. I always tend to take a photograph with my hand. Still use like a wireframe technique.
I think people seem to end up with two opposable thumbs quite often.
Yeah.
Three fingers, a thumb, and another thumb.
Yeah, it's realising the space here. If you get the space here correct, then it's easier to position the thumb.
What about it? So when you were in the fight scene earlier, you were going to give Dr. Bob's fight a fail. How would you go about that?
Same as I was saying earlier, adding pieces, same as I was doing an alien or something. Just keep adding to it. For a tail, it would be sort of made up in blocks, like Lego blocks. So we just get a basic wireframe here. Now, if I want to do the tail, depends what angle I like it. I think the most curly one, let's say, if it was coming around in this sort of fashion. So it's exactly the same wireframe, and that's how I would do it. And then I would start adding to that by using blocks. And then those blocks I would start rounding off. And then I would start rounding off certain areas, like here. So I sort of know which position and angle the tail's actually going. Which helps me out with shadowing and stuff like that. So if I wanted to start adding shadows, I know basically where those shadows are going to go. So that's sort of how I do it.
Silly question.
Go for it.
How do you know when the shadows are supposed to be?
It's
You have to observe.
it's realising where the actual light source is. I tend to always do a light source coming from the right hand side. If I'm doing a fancy style drawing, I always tend to do it from the right hand side for some reason. But you can change that around. Easiest way of doing that is like drawing a big light bulb page, and then drawing where you want the beams to go, and then you can sort of pick out where the highest points are and what's going to capture the most light. So which would be this point here, or this point here, obviously there as well. And when it comes to like the inside, say there's a chest, the light source would capture this part here, okay? And that's how I sort of realise the light source. And then you can just reposition it on the paper if you want a different light source.
So where the light source isn't, because we shadow the further away from the light source.
That's right, yeah. The deepest parts would be the most darkest. That's okay.
And then when you take photographs, do you take photographs with the light source positions?
Yeah, I try and get the light source as correct as possible.
Yeah.
To
To make your life easier.
To make my life easier, yeah, indeed. But it's not entirely possible to get the exact light source you want, so I sort of manipulate it when it's on the paper. And it always ends up different when it's on paper.
Foreshortening. And I always just have a look.
Sorry?
Foreshortening.
Foreshortening.
That's what I find very hard to get right.
All right. And what is that? Sorry?
The big difference between if I stand my arms like that and you see the arm, if I now stand like that,
Oh, I see.
your foreshortening is that looks to your angle.
I see, yeah.
And I never draw people with foreshortening that don't look like somebody's ripped their arms off and stuck them back on again.
Yeah. I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, that is, it is very difficult. It is, I agree with you. But it's very much down to highlights and shadowing to get the correct angle. And obviously the size difference as well. Be quite a big size variation to sort of give that proportion that it's coming out of the paper.
You say you do sculpting?
I do.
What materials do you sculpt?
Polymer clay, sculpting.
Oh,
Super
right,
sculpting.
like milliput pot sort of?
No,
No.
it's not air drying.
Okay.
This is baked. And when it goes hard, it goes very hard, like grind. It's very good stuff to use. They also do it in like a hard format, which is a grey super sculpting, which you can combine with the pink super sculpting to change the hardness if you're doing highly detailed projects.
So it doesn't harden while you're off on the top?
Well, it doesn't harden
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah.
Not unless you have it under a heat lamp or
Yeah,
something like
yeah.
that. So, yeah, it's very good stuff to use. I also use wet clay as well, and pottery clay.
Going back to the faces one, and expressions.
Yes.
I've come across, looking at faces like deep in art, quite a few sort of artists who are doing sort of like sheets of 100 different expressions, which always kind of can't block with expressions.
Yeah.
And it does get me that quite a few artists these days, if they're doing comic characters, I was used to doing the sort of design sheet, this is the front, this is the back, this is
Yeah.
the head and that. They seem to be now, this is my character, this is my beardy, dwarfy character, this is him happy, this is him pissed, this is him constipated. and they build up a little reference book of every facial expression they can think of.
Yeah.
And it's, I mean, is that just something weird that some people do, or is there sort of
I don't tend to
wisdom
do
in
it
it?
myself. No, I mean, each project, I tend to try and capture as much of the emotion as possible, but I don't tend to do hundreds of variations. I tend to try and nail it in one if I can. I mean, no disrespect to them. I mean, if that's...
I suppose if you're a comic artist, you're going to be drawing the same person over and over again, so it's better to get it right first of all.
Yeah, and if they're reusing that character, then yeah, by all means, because they're going to want all different facial expressions. So it'd be a good reference if it's in a story or comic book, definitely. But I think for portraits and stuff like that, it's I don't see the point in doing it.
When you do portraits, ever say, I'd like this to be even better?
Yes, I can do enhancements to illustrations. It all depends on what people want. So I do a range of hero portraits, which is you as your favourite villain or favourite superhero. Yeah, I can manipulate an illustration.
We'll do one now.
Yeah,
I think Dave as Batman would be cool. That's Professor Moriarty with it.
Lorax, isn't it? He looks like the Lorax.
I think it's Chris as one of the mega city judges.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Do you have a favourite?
Sorry?
Do you have a favourite thing to draw?
A favourite thing to draw,
Yeah.
it's definitely fantasy. Fantasy or movies. I really enjoy doing that, especially where robotics meets flesh, and especially Terminator. It's probably one of the best favourite examples, especially like drawing that, especially also like sculpting that as well. because I very much enjoy painting where the metallics.
So what about like Borg-like, you know,
Oh yeah,
Borg
yeah,
and stuff?
anything like that. I've got a character in the making at the moment called Mark, which stands for mechanically enhanced robot code. It's a marine, but an enhanced marine who they send in to destroy robots. He's pretty hefty and he's got wires and all kind of things. And I can't wait to make that and paint it up.
And if you do series, can you do cartoons? If you can draw, can you automatically do cartoons? Can you automatically do the other thing? You're not. Literature? No. Caricatures. Is it something that comes
I can do cartoons, yes, but I've never attempted to do a caricature, to be honest.
I think everybody could do everything once they know the basics.
I think you can teach yourself, yeah.
Mm.
I think anybody can teach themselves anything. So it's something I would have a go at, yeah. I don't know whether I'd nail it first time, but I'd certainly have a go at it. But yeah, I do cartoons as well, but not caricatures.
What's the most common thing you ask?
The most common thing?
Yeah, the most common commission, yeah.
It's the fancy stuff. With robots and Terminators and dragons and stuff like that, especially dragons, yeah. So I do enjoy drawing dragons. I've got a t-shirt that I'm airbrushing up at the moment, which has got a big dragon on it.
Terminator dragon.
Terminator dragon, yeah. Good idea. I like that. I like your thinking. That's excellent.
Is there anything you wouldn't draw?
Anything I wouldn't? Yeah, meerkats. That is because I've sculpted so many of them. I don't mind. If I had to pick and choose something which I don't enjoy, probably that. Hasn't got enough blood or robotic pieces hanging off it.
Robotic meerkats?
Oh yeah. You could do Terminator or liquid metal.
Cool.
Let's do a range of horror meerkats. We know
Yeah.
people that would buy that kind of thing.
Yeah. I'm doing a range of Psycho Santas.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And rabbit bunnies. They're bunnies which look really cute, but they're nasty. Very nasty. That's something I got in the pipeline.
Where can we look at your work? You've got a website?
Yes, I have got a website, yes.
And it's called?
Smart Effects.
Oh, right. Yes, of course.
There's you've left some business cards
Yeah.
on the table there.
Yeah,
They
some
don't
business
pop
cards
on.
there, so check out my site. It's got examples of most of my work. Most of my work's on Facebook, because I haven't got around to update the website just yet. So. Oh yeah, could do. There's some examples here. That was me as a Terminator. I'm going to pass that one around. There's also do special effects makeup. That's a working LED light for my eye, which I've took safety notes of that since, because I forgot to plug up the battery on the back. It got quite hot and sweaty underneath that appliance. It was shorting out and electrocuted me. I was like that, take the photos! It's 2 trophies I sculpted. It's a local bodybuilder and the Plymouth Zombie Walk. Plymouth Zombie Walk. I did a sculpture of a zombie hand.
But what is this zombie?
It was for charity, St Luke's Hospice, where all the zombies walked from one end of town all the way up to Farley Mill.
So I suppose you walk, but in zombie costume.
Yeah, all these zombie costumes all made up.
Shuffle.
Ours was different. We did treasure hunt.
Oh, excellent.
And some examples of zombification. That was me on my stag do.
Gary went on to it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
He wanted to, but
wasn't that time. He had an exact effect.
A beautiful bride there, sat there.
Sorry. Don't use me.
Thanks so much.
What is glow-in-the-dark white contacts?
Yes, they do react under UV.
All contacts actually.
Oh, I like that one, the eye halfway down the cheek. That's brilliant.
I used to have a certain brand of contacts.
Yeah.
If I actually looked into UV light, everything got milky and everybody started staring at me. So I actually then looked into a mirror and they were glowing.
Glowing.
And unfortunately I couldn't see anything.
Yeah, because it was all lit up.
Sort of,
Yeah.
it sort of diffused the light coming in.
Honestly,
Well,
somebody
yeah,
didn't
so-
do their research before they released those.
Mine now don't do that anymore. They only lightly glow. At least I can see, which is good. That was your stag do?
That was my stag do, yeah.
15 of them were dressed up as zombies.
Excellent.
It was a good night. It was well received. Every pub we went into, they played Thriller. And at the time, I was rehearsing the Thriller dance for our wedding dance. So I knew the dance moves.
And how many can't you go back to now?
Sorry?
How many pubs can't you go back to?
Yeah.
Oh, you'll be surprised what you get away with in Plymouth.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, true.
Happens in Plymouth, stays in Plymouth. Any more questions about anything RT or scope 3 or even special effects?
Is this special effect makeup? Is it individuals like the stag do, or is it?
Yeah, it's for anybody.
TV or
Well, that would be nice. Nice for somebody to sort of notice me. That'd be cool. But at the moment, it's contract work. Clients coming in and asking me what they want. So make anything costume-wise. It's built to order. So, we rent them out as well.
So when you say you rent them out, what kind of thing? What aesthetics or?
Costumes. We rent the costumes out.
Yeah.
The prosthetics people tend to buy because they want to keep them.
Yeah.
And we also apply them on the day as well. We've got a big event coming up. There's a load of guys from the local gym. They tend to go all out, and some of the guys on that now. One of them's going to be the Terminator. One of them's going to be the Hulk, and he's probably as big as the Hulk. You see an example of the prosthetic I've made for the Hulk. It's in my room. Another guy's going as the Joker, the female nurse Joker. That's going to look so funny. But yeah, they buy the appliances and I fix appliances to them, and they rent the costumes from me. Or buy the costumes and try it out.
What material do you use for the prosthetics?
Prosthetics, foam latex, resins. I tend to use some resins, some clear resins. Any polyurethane kind of resin. Also something called Platzo gel, which is silicone, which when dries is very flesh-like. That Hulk prosthetic that I've got in my room is Platzo gel. When you feel it, it's very fleshy. Like a certain. Also, I've made a severed hand out of that stuff. It's nasty. I'm also making some severed heads. Depraved child. It's made Freddy Krueger films. That's how I got into special effects makeup. It was from the age of 6. I saw my first Freddy Krueger movie. Yeah, my uncle collects a lot of films. I was always breaking into his room, sitting in with him when he was watching films. Tom just telling me to get out, but he couldn't get rid of me.
you use liquid latex?
Yes, I do use liquid latex, either as a filler or adhesive. It's not my choice for adhesive prosthetics. I use something called Prozade, which is something they use in hospitals where they're sticking appliances to people, which is very strong.
Well, I bought a bottle of liquid latex to use on this.
Right.
And I was basically soaking pieces of blue paper or something in it and then sticking it on and painting it.
Yeah, that's cool. That's a very good fact. Yeah, you can do it that way. It's very, very effective. I use a hairdryer as well, which helps a lot.
Oh, okay.
Especially if you're sticking things to yourself. If you
Well,
put a layer of liquid latex on your arm first,
Yeah.
hairdryer, it becomes very, very tacky. And then same on the appliance, do exactly the same. And when you stick it, you'll struggle to get it off.
Oh, right, okay.
Work the next morning with it.
Yeah, that's right. You end up with all your bedroom furniture stuck to it.
So how do you get it off?
Yeah.
How do you get it?
You get it off?
How do you get it off?
Yeah.
Warm soapy water.
Oh, okay.
Cleansing wipes.
Okay. I just thought
Yeah,
you're
easy
holding
prey.
something down while you lift it off.
Sometimes it don't come off. That's why I always get my clients to sign the disclaimer. Because when they start there saying, oh, chuck it on. So I'm not chucking, I do chuck it on. And they wake up the next morning. I can't get it off. It's not my problem. Disclaimer. So yeah, I make sure the appliances last for their parties and stuff like that. Because the last thing they want is it peeling off.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Tony, for jumping in and helping us out.
That's okay, no problem.